So this week, on the rustiest POS I've ever dragged home, I got this thing. Picked it up from the neighbor across the road. She had it sitting in her field for 13 or more years. So it looks like a chassis of a C40, 1962, I believe. It's got a dump bed and everything on it, which is kind of cool. So the cab is completely rusted out. I mean, borderline useful. The chassis and everything actually is really good. The engine ran when it was parked, and so let's just go over it. You can see like the hood there is completely rusted out. Fenders are rusted out. Doors are completely gone on the bottoms. The cab is completely gone. I mean, there's just rust everywhere. The floors are shot. Everything. But it does have a few good things. I mean, like, it's got a lot of good trim pieces. Like, you know, the turn signal lenses are still good. They're just dirty. And the whole grille is actually in really good shape. The bumper is in really good shape. I got some license plates to hang on my wall. Jeez. It's got 19.5-inch tires. So I'm going to have to try and source some of those if I decide to get this thing going. Needs a windshield. Windshield's completely busted up. Back window's completely broken. One of the side windows is broken out, so I mean it's missing a lot, and it needs a lot of work if I decide to try and get it back. Here we are under the hood. You can see hood is just falling apart. There's daylight coming in all over the place. But I mean, I could part things out, like, you know, hood hinges and whatnot, but the engine is good. It's just should be, I haven't verified, it's a 235 straight 6. Same thing that was in my 53 panel, if anybody remembers that thing. It's possible it's I think a 261. I think there was a bigger version that they put in the heavy trucks, so it's very possible it could be that, but I gotta look up the numbers and all the stuff on the side of the block and whatnot. I haven't gotten into that yet. But yeah, it's got the old Rochester carburetor. It's all stock. My other one had aftermarket intake and exhaust. This one's all stock. That's the oil filter, the oil lines that run to the block. It still has the original generator, or original style. But all in all, I mean, it's actually decent because it's pretty unmolested. It's pretty stock. Hopefully there's enough light you can really see stuff, but yeah. It's there. The engine does turn over. It's loose. I tried to put a battery on it to see if I could get it to crank over, but it's not getting a connection somewhere, so gotta clean it up a little. Take a look inside. Rip the door open. So, when I mean the doors are rusted out, I mean they are rusted out. I mean, there's just no bottom to the door at all. And of course, rocker panels are gone. Floors are just as gone underneath. The fuel tank is rusted through. I mean, the cab is just gone everywhere. There's rust going through it. But, I mean, diamond in the rough, I guess. It does have this cool, not original GMC horn there. That's kind of cool. But this gauge cluster supposedly is a optional one because it has the full gauges. It's got, you know, oil gauge, temperature, battery, where the normal ones just have 2 dummy lights and that's it. So that's kind of cool. I've heard that this is kind of hard to get, so if I do part it out, I don't know. Then it also has a radio. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this cab is not original to the frame, so that's why it kind of has some of the fancier stuff. It does have a radio, which this truck probably shouldn't have had originally. Still trying to find out if that speaker is stock up there or not, or optional. But, I mean, it is a rusty old truck. Back window's just busted out. I think there's air coming in behind me here. It's got one visor, which is falling apart with a wasp. There's a wasp living up there. Yep, there he is. So we leave him alone. Did find the keys. in the ashtray there, so that's cool. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in here. These seats obviously aren't original. These are, I don't know, 80s Camaro or something. I don't know. It's got a 4-speed. It's got the floor-mounted brake lever right up there. See that guy right there. Ah. So, yeah, that's not a whole lot going on. Looking at the back side of this now, it does have a nice big flatbed. It is a dump. It does have hydraulics underneath it. If you can see much, that's the hydraulic cylinder right there. It's got it's PTO driven off the transmission, and I gotta figure out how all that stuff even works. Supposedly last time it was parked, it fired up, the hydraulics all worked, so that'd be kind of cool if it does work, if I decide to use it. It has a massive rear end in this thing, big 10 lug. I gotta figure out, I believe this is an old Eaton rear end. It seems like it's even bigger than the one that was in my 53, so I think this is the bigger version of that. And there's Axel barking at stuff, but I mean, there's really not a whole lot to go over. It is just, to me, it's just a cool old truck. It is borderline savable. I think the engine, I can get the engine running. Transmission should be fine. Rear end, I'm sure, is fine. Drivetrain should be good. One thing I'm really worried about is brakes, because obviously brakes are expensive and whatnot, especially on the older stuff with all the rotten rubber. Everything rubber pretty much has to be replaced. So, not sure if I'm going to really spend time going through that stuff. I don't plan on keeping this truck, or if I do, not very long, because I don't need another vehicle. Yeah, but if you did want to make it nice, it would need an entire new cab. But I think chassis-wise, it's good. It just needs a new cab. But I kind of like the way it is with the old rusted cab, just completely falling apart. So, who knows? Not sure what I'm going to do with this yet.